Hello, anime enthusiasts! Welcome to another smoking room, and this time we're gonna do the thing. We're gonna share our ideas for how to remake that which shall not be named, the Forsaken Umineko anime. I'm Death, and I'm here with.
Hi there, I'm AD.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Pokey.
This is Ren.
I'm Kat.
I forgot to say, but Umineko spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Alright, and with everyone introduced, this is Kat's first recording, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, okay, so I'm a little nervous because whenever I'm in a group of people, I'm like, okay, time not to make a fool of myself. Basically, so I'm Kat, I'm an artist, animator. I also sing sometimes. If you know my social media, which is like, I'm sure nobody will know how to write it down, but it's Kreizacz. I make Umineko animations on there, but I also have a different channel. Well, not important. I did many things just to make sure my friends got into Umineko, which includes a musical. So that is a thing I'm actually working on. I'm crazy.
Did it work?
No, that's the thing. I tried everything in my goddamn power, and my friends are like, but it's too long. And then I did a fan comic, I did a musical, I did a dub. Do you understand how I'm at my limit?
You were the Umineko Gold we needed all along.
Yeah, I was the Umineko Gold all along. But yeah, I guess I should say how I got into When They Cry in the first place. Okay.
Did someone make a musical for you too?
Well, sadly, no. Nobody has touched my heart in that way. Sadly, no. But yeah, I got into it because of My Little Pony in 2012.
Okay, this sounds like a fun story.
Oh my god, is this the thing?
There's one animation on YouTube, and it's called When the Ponies Cry. And you see, in 2012, I was a wee old little 9-year-old, and I was minding my business, looking at little My Little Pony animations, and I see this one, and it looks pretty, and it was really well animated. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I wonder what it is based on. Context, I did not know what anime was at the time. I was 9 years old to understand.
Yes.
And so, I clicked on the recommended video with like the comparison between the actual story and the fan animation, and I was like, whoa, this looks interesting. I wonder what this cartoon is about. Clicks on a deaf compilation. I'm like, oh, trauma. So you could say for a while I did not have the most, how do I say this, positive feelings about Higurashi, because that was the first one I found out, because it was a When They Cry Higurashi Kai animation based by ponies. And yeah, I found it through that animation, and then I used to hate it at the time. I was like, this is so violent. I am above this. I am 9 years old. But then a few years later, I decided to
Man, my 9-year-old self would have been into it.
Well, listen, it's not like I was like, oh, I'm not gonna watch this because I'm scared. No, I showed this to my friends. I challenged them. I was like, bet you can't handle this gore. And they were like, Kat, this is okay, you're just a little crazy right now. But yeah, no, I decided to watch it in 2015, and then I really liked it, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I used to hate anime because of this, because now I really like it. And it was one of those anime that I actually really liked throughout the years. And back when 2019, 2020, when was Go announced? Was it 2019?
2019?
Yeah, I discovered it again through Go because everyone was talking about, oh, there's gonna be a Higurashi remake. The lies we were told.
We were lying. That's right up there with. That's all the way up there with Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh my god, they just keep lying to us.
Final Fantasy VII Go. Final Fantasy VII Go.
But yeah, I heard it was announced, and I was like, time to make my epic remake fan art. And then I rewatched the show because I think this one YouTuber Bess made a video about Shion and how like her analysis and stuff like that. It was so good. I was like, this is better than I remember it. So I watched it and I was like, whoa, this actually is better than I remember it. And then I found out about Umineko. And I was like, well, time to play this.
All right.
And I did not expect to like it as much as I did, and now it's been a year, and I'm still trying my damnedest to get my friends into these games, but I did manage to get 2 friends to watch Higurashi with me. Progress. It took a year, but it's progress. But yeah, that's it.
Well, it's not that big of a step to go from Higurashi to Umineko, so eventually you'll be able to do it.
That is true. But listen, I don't think I will. They're like, I don't like anime. I don't like. Oh, I also redrew the sprites. That's also a thing I did. I did everything to get my friends into these games, and it's so hard.
I got Ryukishi himself to sit at a table with them, and they still wouldn't read it.
Oh yeah, you
Literally, though.
don't like anime? How about I reanimate the entire thing in the style of The Simpsons?
I would do that. I would do that. I have no limits to my insanity. I will do anything to get my friends into my special interest. Okay.
So wait, you said you made some fan comics. Did you make the fan comic that is just exactly your story about the My Little Pony animation and Higurashi? Because I've seen that, like, a comic that is basically just exactly that story.
If it's the one on Tumblr, yes.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Small world.
That My Little Pony video, by the way, is part of a series of memes where they remake the Kai opening with different characters.
I remember those.
And they're incredible. If you haven't seen them, you should watch some.
I actually remade the Kai opening once with Undertale characters. I was 13. Okay.
I'm gonna need to see that.
I can send a link. Well, I don't think I posted it ever. I started it and then I didn't finish it. Or we still haven't started talking about our big brain Umineko anime version.
Oh yeah, okay, well. Anyway, if you want to link your stuff, or if anybody wants to link any of their stuff, you can tell me and I'll leave it in the description next to your names. Because I don't know if people read our descriptions, but like our descriptions have like a list of who was in the episode, and I can start adding the links to your stuff if you want.
That makes sense. Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay, so Umineko anime, we're here to remake it, or delusional ideas, because one, it will never be remade, and two, it will never be with whatever ideas we will share today, but we can dream.
Objection.
Objection? What do you object to?
What if I made an Umineko anime? Then what? Then what?
Holy shit!
Objection. It can't be a remake because Umineko has never been... Gold truth, Umineko has never been animated.
Yeah.
True!
Fair.
You're so right!
Without love, Umineko cannot be animated. And Dean did not have love.
That's why it cannot be seen.
Without love, it cannot be watched.
Without love, it cannot be steamed.
Okay, so who wants to start?
You, so we can copy your ideas and pretend like we have a big brain, you know?
Right.
I am curious how many of us have actually watched the Umineko anime.
I sort of skimmed through it. I wasn't able. It didn't keep my attention enough.
I have not watched it.
I have seen a couple scenes.
Oh, I have skimmed through the first few episodes and I was like, well, they really sure did pick the boob scenes to go with first. Great idea, love it.
I watched the last episode in preparation for today.
Okay.
Well, I watched a portion of it, and by a portion of it, I mean the 2 seconds that make up the Shannon dancing gif, and I haven't seen anything else.
I've seen the opening.
Wait,
Okay, I've seen
so
the opening too.
y'all are blind haters.
Well, I am
Okay,
a blind...
the opening is fire though,
The opening is fire.
And the ending.
and of course the ending gave us desire. So
No, yes. The fucking realization in me when I realized the guy who sings the Umineko ending is the guy who is the fucking singer for Linked Horizon, who are
Wait,
the people
really?
who make the Attack on Titan openings.
What?
Yes, it's him. It's him.
Se verás a Sunnivi desire.
This just tells me that Attack on Titan was lucky, you know? Umineko anime could have been Attack on Titan, basically.
God, when I think about the fact that the Umineko anime was the progenitor of these voice actors, and it had Linked Horizon for the ending, and God, it had an all-star cast. But God, the Umineko anime was set up to succeed. How did it fail?
Too bad it was bad.
What went wrong?
We say it like it was bad as if we watched it. We didn't. We're such fake people. We're like, yeah, Umineko anime is bad. We watched it. We did not.
Without even without watching it, based on everything I know about it and about Dean Higurashi, I can wholeheartedly believe that it is absolute doo-doo.
My understanding is that Umineko wasn't finished at the time they
That
were
is
making
true.
it, and that's the biggest issue.
that's true.
Yeah.
See, because the thing is, they're trying
Oh, yeah.
trying to condense a like 50+ hour story into around 9 or 10 hours. So they're gonna have to cut a lot, they're gonna have to change a lot. And because of the nature of Umineko being a mystery, they had no idea what things would be okay to
What to
change
cut.
or what things needed to stay exactly the way they were to make sense.
That does make a lot of sense.
They
Yeah.
just made the best product they could make at the time without knowing what they were making.
Yeah, it was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones.
Now, I don't think they they made the best they could make at the time. I think they headed towards fan service way too much.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest issues, outside of everything else, obviously, but, like, I just don't understand why do that in a story? I mean, I get that Yukishi also likes his fan service. They might have been pleasing him specifically.
You know what? I think I know what it is, and I think it's because Higurashi is at its their Higurashi anime got the most people to watch it when it was gore and tits. So they tried to have a lot of gore and tits.
True.
Did Higurashi anime have tits? I mean, it did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as a Higurashi fan service is just something I'm keen to ignore.
I'm just choosing to ignore. I clearly did not remember that it had that many boobs, because I'm like, does it have boobs? I know it has weird jokes, but does it have boobs? Question mark?
Battler's obsessed.
Tatoko has a naked sprite in the original.
Yeah, that too.
Like, just actually
I'm
naked.
talking about the anime.
Oh, we're talking about the anime, okay.
In the anime, I'm pretty sure there's a scene where Rika's naked.
True, but, like, we don't see boobs, because she does not have them, thankfully.
That's fair.
But, like,
First change, no boobs.
I don't think the main consoles have that much fan service, but then, god damn, the extra arcs in the anime, holy shit.
we ignore.
Don't talk about Kira. Don't talk about Kira.
The extra arcs in the visual novel do too, but we just haven't gotten there yet.
For the longest time, I was so confused by Higurashi's Kira's existence, because before I watched the anime, before I watched the show, I was like, wait, so why are they happy now? Why is there boobs? What's happening?
Why are they happy? Why is there magical girl?
Well, you see, there's this Magatama from space that makes people fall in love.
No, that was Ray.
Why are there lollies in the sexy waitress outfit?
I hate it so much. And you know what? My hot take, the Angel Moore uniform is great. It just, I do not like who they put in it. That's my hot
That's
take.
why Ryukishi upgraded it into the Seven Sisters of Purgatory outfit.
He literally keeps reusing designs.
I think it could have used pants, or at least a skirt over the bottom, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So it's actually discussed in the original Japanese version that Keiichi and his father have a big argument about Zettai Ryoki and the fact that they're in stockings.
Absolute territory.
And about how the socks must stay on. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's in my Akashi too.
Losing my mind.
Now that's
Like at the beginning.
that is the conversation of cultured gentlemen.
I mean, maybe to Ryukishi, but not to us. We're too cultured.
Oh no, to me it is.
Okay, so I had a question about our ideal anime idea. Because there's a lot of content, and the anime that we have, it's all squished into one season. What do we think about the realisticness or like the viability of a season for each like visual novel?
That's actually my first note. I said that ideally I would make some kind of 400 episode behemoth, but since that's probably not possible,
I don't think you need 400 episodes.
I don't think so.
I was thinking like something like the Dean Higurashi anime, like 40 to 44 is probably realistic.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one. I mean, I actually thought about this in depth, and I put it in my epic presentation. Basically, I was taking the stage play as a reference point for how much you can do to summarize Umineko in like a shorter format. And the stage play managed to summarize episode 1 in like 3 hours. So that's roughly 9 anime episodes, and because anime is a different format, I would estimate the first arc, aka the first episode, would take about 12 anime episodes to cover. Ideally, and that's one of the longest ones. So if we go by that logic, either it can take like 12 episodes or like around 8 to 9, depending on like the episode, I guess.
Okay, so I did the same thing. I looked at the stage play and I was like 3 hours for EP1. They had to trim it down to where there's no fat. So to give them a little bit of breathing room, let's just say it's a core. Let's say there's 12 to 13 episodes
That makes
per
sense.
episode for EP. And then that rounds out to 100 episodes for 8 EPs.
Okay.
Well, you see, I think it's possible to summarize some episodes in a shorter span than 12 episodes, but yeah, I do agree. It would have to be very long, honestly.
Yeah, not to spoil my own presentation, but my numbers were not the same
Oh,
But now hearing your arguments, I'm like, yeah, you're right. About 100 episodes sounds about right.
I have a question. We kind of already started doing this in this way, where we just talk about a point, and then everyone discusses what they think about that point.
ooh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I think that's more interesting than just taking one person's, like, idea and just running with it for, like, 20 minutes.
Okay.
I definitely
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. I mean, we could hypothetically, if someone really has an in-depth vision, we could focus on their idea and then comment on the points.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that's the way we can go about it. Depends on how much we agree on that.
That sounds like a fine idea by me.
Huh.
What does the rest of the people think?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
All right, so we're talking about number of episodes. So my calculations were Umineko first episode is doomed to fail because it takes so long to get to the good part. So my idea was the first episode we either need to have an episode 0 like Studio White Fox did for ReZero, where on the first week they released 2 episodes, episode 0 and episode 1, or we need to do it like Fate Stay Night and Unlimited Blade Works, I think, which just had a 40-minute first episode. And so my idea was, if we're going with this idea, basically on the first week of the episode, I wanted the anime to cover at least up until Maria's sweater on the dining hall, because that's the first whoa, what the fuck is going on moment.
Yeah.
In regards specifically to the first episode, since we're working with the same studio and the same team, theoretically, I would just do a Higurashi. Cut immediately to some, like, near the end scene, right at the beginning, and then go back.
You know what I would do for that? I would put the episode 1 tea party first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where Beatrice is first, where you first see Beatrice, and she and Battler seem like they're gonna go up against each other, and then we do a how we got here thing, and then they finally declare each other as rivals, and going into episode 2.
I like that.
That's a great idea.
You see, I think that's interesting, but I think that kind of undermines the point of episode 1. And I know anime is a different medium from a visual novel, and you can't have the same expectations. It can be a direct copy of the visual novel. But I do think that episode 1 being this, like, very classic mystery situation, I do think that, like, putting, like, an example of, like, this is what's gonna happen, Beatrice gotta kill them all. I do think that kind of undermines the main point of, like, we're building up to this, I guess, twist, but I do understand, because you gotta grab the anime, the audience's attention as soon as possible.
Yeah, because the thing is, a theoretical anime adaptation can not only appeal to fans, it has to appeal to a broader audience to be...
Very true.
If you want it to be successful, that is, which is something we haven't discussed.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
totally
yeah.
in agreement with Kat about, like, how it could be good, but it also kind of ruined the point of that tea party, because I remember so vividly getting there for the first time and seeing Beatrice and being like, oh, okay, she exists?
Yeah.
I also think that, in general, for a blind audience member, someone who has never heard about Umineko before, if they go into Umineko and they see, like, everything Ep 1 presents before the tea party, I still think it's a really strong, like, setup. It just doesn't have, unlike Higurashi, which already in, like, the first few hours has, like, the whole Rena is maybe lying to Keiichi scene, right?
Usoda.
I think Umineko doesn't really have that scene where it's, like, immediately grabs you. It comes up a little later, which I think is one of the main problems as to why it's so hard to make an Umineko anime that really grabs people's attention
Episode
immediately.
1 is so slow until the first Twilight.
Yeah. So about episode 1, right? I have a really vivid image of how I would want episode 1 to end to grab people's attention. Because episode 1 of the Umineko anime, I think, just ends with the first Twilight, which is insane to me. Like, I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that it's true. That's some pacing right there.
Yeah.
But I think that it would be really, like, probably the best way I think they could reasonably end episode 1 without, like, a 48-minute episode, is, like, you end it around the scene of, like, Maria with the rose and Rosa, so you have, like, oh, something's going on here, and then you have the rain beginning to fall, and then you have, like, some kind of monologue from Battler about, like, this will all be over when the seagulls cry.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And then you have, like, either Beatrice or Brancastell's voice just, like, cut in over him, that just has the freaking iconic, when the seagulls cry, none will be left alive. credit roll.
Oh, that's good.
So you know what episode 1 ends with? It ends with Rosa, Mario getting slapped because she can't find that rose and she's panicking.
So it's literally your idea, Kyle.
That's horrifying. That my idea is on pacing with Dean's adaptation. It'd be a really cool scene, but I don't know how it matches up with pacing. I'd be fine if there was a 48-minute first episode and that's what it ended with.
You see, I think that's the best way to put it, because, like, the problem with the Dean episode is that it's 20 minutes. So if it was a 40-minute, I think a lot would be resolved.
They can't just, like, make hour-long episodes and air them on Japanese television, right? Like, they can't just, like, Doctor Who this. Like...
What if they struck a Netflix deal? Like, that's
Whoa.
what I'm asking.
Oh!
That's an idea.
That is an idea. That for sure is an idea.
I don't like Netflix original Umineko ni Naku Koro ni, but, like... I don't like that sentence, but...
Yeah, it'll end up live action.
I actually thought about that once. Like, I think Umineko would work a lot in live action and be easier to adapt in live action. I'm surprised they'd ever tried it.
I think there'd have to be a lot of ridiculous, like, special effects for the magic scenes, because they have to be
True.
very clearly magical.
True. That would also need a big budget.
Like, you just have to have Cannon, like, turn his arm and then make a lightsaber out of his hand. Like...
They did it in the 70s!
I don't want to see a CGI golden butterfly.
Oh god. Well, do you want to see, like, the golden butterflies from the stage play, where they're just guys in costumes? Like...
Yes.
Well, that actually brings me to something, but I can save that thought for later about, like, butterflies specifically. I have thoughts on this.
Really? Okay.
Ah.
Okay.
Well... I have one more thought on the ending of episode 1.
Okay.
That I'm stealing right from Go.
Oh my god, not red eyes Berto.
Yes, we're going to have the culprit with red eyes. No. I want them to take the opening of the original anime. I think it's One Winged Bird. Or something like that. Put that as the ending song of the first episode, and then have episode 2 start off with a new opening.
I was thinking, like, of a way for a good way to end the first episode would be that scene where it cuts to Kinzo in his study throwing the ring out the window.
Oh, true.
And then it could...
Isn't that EP2 though?
No, that happens...
no, that's anything.
That happens
Oh
in
my
episode
God.
1 also.
I think it's
Oh
both,
my God.
actually. Both, actually, because in the
Because I
second...
remember in EP2 that's where Uronove appears, because he catches the ring.
I think it happens in episode 1 too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rodove doesn't appear on EP2, I don't think. I think he's...
I meant EP3.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he does that. Yeah, he does.
Now you gave me a really cool idea. Imagine the episode ends, Kinzo throws his stupid
And
little
then
ring,
the
and then...
first opening plays.
Huh?
At the end.
Some golden butterfly.
Actually, what I was thinking is, like, maybe something with the seagulls, because, like, he throws it into the heavens or whatever, but, like, that can transition into, like, the seagulls and then the opening. I don't know, I'm just thinking of cool visuals.
I like the idea that he throws the ring, and in midair you see it turning. It turns, like, on a vertical edge, and then it goes into, like, a roulette wheel. Because it's the devil's roulette.
That's so brilliant!
We're storyboarding the opening right now.
I'm gonna animate this!
And then it like starts slowing down and falling over, and you can't see like who it selects for the sacrifice or something. But
Oh, that's brilliant!
God,
Oh my god!
Damn. That's amazing.
Anime studios, write this shit down.
Yeah.
True.
Take
Well,
notes.
talking about anime studios, I think that's the best second point we could talk about next. What do you think?
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't have many thoughts on it personally, but I'm not that familiar with anime studios.
Okay.
I am. You go first.
Okay, so my idea was, obviously, I want the best studio to be working on my Umineko anime, but I also want a good studio to be working on it. I don't want fucking Mappa who fucking shits on their workers. I don't want that kind of studio working on my Umineko anime. So who did I think about? Kyoto Animation, of course. But then I stopped to think about it and I'm like, yes, KyoAni does respect their workers and it is a good studio. However, KyoAni does not make action anime, so it just wouldn't work. Because Umineko does have action. So who the fuck am I gonna choose? So I went on Google, tried to understand what studios are actually not that bad, because it's anime studios. Obviously, they're always gonna be a little bit bad as a working
Yeah.
environment. So then I ended up choosing a studio that was specifically made for an anime to be made, which is Studio Bind, that was made from Studio White Fox, specifically to make Mushoku Tensei.
Ooh.
Because their kind of animation is like a pseudo trigger, in the sense that they do like distorting their characters for more fluid movement, and I think it looks really good. It's not on the level of Trigger, but it's close, and it still retains like the character design. They don't fucking stretch it as much as Trigger does. So I like Studio Bind. I think it's a good studio. And also, fucking Mushoku Tensei, every week there would be a new episode of Mushoku Tensei. I would stand there being like, this was such a good fucking episode. Storyboarding was on point, the music was on point. So like, I think it's a great studio, and I would entrust Umineko anime to Studio Bind.
Very interesting.
My idea actually was Mappa.
Wait. I have a question about Mappa. Wait. Which like team? Because I look at Jujutsu Kaisen and I'm like, this shit is so poorly storyboarded. The scenes do not flow into each other. And then I look at Chainsaw Man and I'm like, holy shit, is this the same studio?
Okay, but Chainsaw Man is like the Jesus Christ of anime. Like,
I don't know enough about the specific people who worked on it to say. So.
Okay, but what Mappa anime are you thinking about when you think, yes, this is a good studio for Umineko?
Well, obviously there's Chainsaw Man because that's like the one that's currently relevant.
Okay.
But there's also hold on.
they made Yuri on Ice.
That was what I was thinking. Like, the thing is, Yuri on Ice had a lot of more like grounded moments too. So I think they'd be good at that also.
Okay, I actually have a hot take. It's not a hot take, it's just a take.
Okay.
I think this studio, I don't know if they underpaid their animators, I have no idea, but I think they're really competent at what they do.
What studio?
Not just like...
Wit Studio?
Yeah,
like
Wit
behind
Studio.
Attack on Titan? That one?
Yeah, they're behind Attack on Titan, but like Attack on Titan is just a thing that popped into my brain first, that associating with the studio. But then I thought about it, and it actually makes sense. This studio has a lot of like both action titles, really expressive animation, and they're like they don't stick to one art style. They really go off on like they do cartoony looking anime. They do like really realistic looking anime. Like they did Vinland Saga. They did that one recent about a prince that was really cartoony.
Yeah.
They did The Great Pretender. They did The Vampire in the Garden.
That's true. However, which studio let go of Attack on Titan into the hands of Mappa, and I did not like that. So I have a personal gripe about against which studio.
Honestly, considering season 4 of Attack on Titan, I would also let it go. Whoop.
There's also Bones, so there's that.
Well,
True.
Bones is the basic choice. It's the white girl of anime studios.
It really is. I mean, it did bring a lot of classics, like, I don't know, fucking Death Note, but I do think Bones' problem is that, like...
Death Note
Death Note was
Madhouse?
Death Note was Madhouse.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mixed it up. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, because Bones is modern Madhouse.
Bones is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh my god! That is so funny. But I was gonna say, continuing the Wit Studio thought, why I think they would be a fitting studio. Like, they work with a lot of range of art styles, very expressive animation, blah, blah, blah. But also, I think that really makes me want to go with them is that they're really ready to take risks. Attack on Titan was their first anime. That was a risk, because they put every fucking bit of budget into that.
No, that's because Wit Studio was also made specifically to make Attack on Titan. It's the same situation as Mushoku Tensei. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, and they did it. It blew up. It was great. It was really popular. And also, like, I see them doing a lot of like stuff that other studios aren't doing. They're partnering with like companies. I don't know. I think that pops into mind. They're partnering with Webtoon to like bring about Webtoon adaptations, which tells me they're really ready to take risks that other studios aren't. And Umineko anime is a risk, so I think that would be a fitting choice.
That's a very good idea, choice, and justification. Holy shit.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a very pumpkin spice-esque take, but I would give it to Production IG.
What have they done?
I just see a lot of similarities between how I would want my Umineko to look and Psychopaths.
Oh,
as
very
well-
true.
I can see that.
As well as Evangelion. Just a lot of like mixing. It would be magic in this case. It's usually sci-fi in those, as well as a slow plotting mystery.
I can definitely see Psychopaths Umineko. So about my patchwork abomination here, okay? So, you mentioned Studio Bind. I'm not sure if this is the same group I'm talking about. I don't think it is. But so I wanted it to be directed by White Fox in a sense, but I know a lot of people recently left White Fox.
Really?
So I had to make a fanfic backstory to fit this
Okay.
of how the people who used to work at White Fox, hypothetically, they get hired by Ufotable.
Oh my
Because I feel
Oh,
like
God.
the Demon Slayer effects would work very well for the Red and Blue Truth battles.
That is true. That is true. I don't know what's wrong with me. I seem to be the only person who personally does not like Ufotable's 3D effects and sound effects for some reason.
Really?
Yes.
I think. I mean, when I watched, I don't think I watched that many UFO table works, but when Demon Slayer came out, I remember thinking like the animation and directing and sound design is so good, except the story is not that good. But you know, it sold me on the story, so like I'm just saying, if the direction is good of the studio, like they can sell any story, no matter how do I say this? No matter how quote unquote boring some anime viewers might find Ep 1 of Umineko, I think if the directing is interesting and like, you know, if they do interesting stuff with like the sound design, the visuals and all that, I think it's really possible to sell people on it. It just, like I said, you can have the worst story and you can, if you have good directing, it's gonna be amazing and everyone's gonna watch it.
That's true. That's very true.
So I don't have a lot of justification for why Ufotable, because I feel like it doesn't need a lot of justification.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
I do have justification for why I want the people who used to be at White Fox to work on it.
Okay.
I don't know who specifically, like, left White Fox. But two of my favorite anime are ReZero and Steins Gate, which are both done by White Fox.
Yeah.
Steins Gate specifically is another very long VN that was adapted into a 25-episode anime almost seamlessly.
And has a slow opening, and yet it still managed to grab you.
Exactly! That's a great example.
And I think that whoever did that would do a great job on choosing what to keep in Umineko and keeping the pacing fine. Also,
You're so right. Yeah.
Also, as an Umineko simp, yes, but ReZero simp, ReZero Season 2 had so much stuff cut from it because there was so much content to keep. Because it was 130 chapters of a web novel that was turned into a light novel that was turned into an anime. And they managed to keep it cohesive in 25 episodes. You give them, like, a larger time span, and I think that they could really be, like, a good choice to pick what to keep and what to cut, other than the stage play team.
I think you're absolutely spot on with this because, like, the thing is, like, if the studio knows what to cut and what to keep, they're the perfect pick for something as long as Umineko, with something that's much repetition as Umineko, which some repetition is important, but sometimes it just repeats stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But
that's true.
But also, I wanted to say that this point you made about it making Steins Gate, that is such a good point because Steins Gate has a really slow opening, and yet it's one of the most well-beloved, like, anime adaptations out there.
That's so funny that for this time loop story you picked a studio that has done two of the most famous time loop stories.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am the time loop
Oh
guy.
my god!
Oh my
I am in love with time loops. It's upsetting.
Same. And it's usually by accident. I'll be watching something and just a time loop jumps out of nowhere, and I'm like, I didn't realize this was a time loop story.
Oh, it'll come up behind me. Oh god, it'll like sneak up on me in my sleep, in my shadow. I'll be listening to music and there'll be a time loop. Like
Exactly. Has everyone covered the production company? Because I actually want to jump off of something that Kyle said there.
Oh.
It was a question that I ran into, and I don't have an answer for, so I want to see what everyone else thinks. How would you handle Red Truth in an anime?
Okay, I would honestly utilize lighting to my advantage. Because, like, Red Truth, it's red. Why not utilize the red lighting for, like, whenever, like, Beatrice... Not like, oh, she just says the Red Truth, because that would be confusing. Like, normal lighting, red lighting, But, like, I would do something creative with the lighting to indicate whenever she's speaking about the Red Truth, because I feel like just having the text, like, written out in the void of the space is kind of dumb. So, yeah, I would just do something crazy with the lighting.
Yeah, in the anime as is, it's just the screen flashes with the designated color, and then the color text comes onto the screen and circles around the character.
I actually like
And
that effect.
I'd like to actually share my screen and show you like my two slides that I made.
I actually kind of like how the anime, the first Umineko anime, did that.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It was simple, but it was effective.
Yeah,
I
true.
base my adaptation on the manga version, which is actually the first version of Umineko I experienced. And the Red Truth in that, of course, is handled the same way it is in the visual novel. So,
Can you see the Danganronpa?
Oh, I see.
Ah,
I see.
I like
That's
it.
actually really interesting.
Yeah, on the left, it's not animated. I couldn't find a GIF, but basically how it works is that they say the truth, and it comes text, and it circles around them. Sometimes it stays a little bit more on screen, but usually that's it. My idea is something a bit more like active, and depending on the character that's saying that truth. So, for instance, with Battler, I think he likens it to a machine gun, the use of the blue truth, how he has to keep firing it. So it should literally like shoot out from him.
Oh, that's really clever.
Yeah, and manifest. And for someone like Beatrice, she has her her pipe that she uses like a wand sometimes. She like waves it as she speaks, and the truth like flows out of it, sort of like smoke.
Oh, that's a great visual. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one more example that's very important to me because I keep thinking about episode 5 and the fight in the chapel, and I keep thinking about Gap.
What is this?
Okay, so
What is
Fuck
this?
this is
what am I looking at?
so
Is this like Gap like comes out and like freaking like break dances on Erica
Yeah.
and like becomes visible?
okay. So
Like,
what happens here is this is the scene where all the magical people are coming back and they're joining with Battler, and then so Gap appears behind Erica and is like, "Wash your feet, little girl," and then she says this red truth, and how I think it should work is that her like power is to create like those black holes that appear on surfaces and they put people somewhere else. So I want the red truth and the magic relationship to be kind of intact, because that's something that's mentioned in the tips, how red and blue truth can manifest in different things, like the long sword and short sword of Delanor. So for Gap, she do her little thing. She does a tap dance, which is that idea is inspired by the great Ace Attorney. There's a really cool tap dance in there. So
alright.
she does her fancy footwork, and then the truth comes out of her. It flows through her feet along the ground and becomes a magic circle. And inside of the circle, that's where the hole goes.
Oh, that's cool.
Ah.
I love
Cool.
that.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a great
They
idea.
should just hire you to do the anime,
thank you.
honestly. Like, you're the idea machine.
My idea is tame by comparison.
You know, this inspired me because now I'm thinking about, like, what if Umineko, but with dancing?
Yeah.
You know?
Umineko dancing all night.
Umineko dancing 2 nights.
No, I think it would actually kind of be interesting visually, because Umineko, a lot of it does rely on, like, you know, they're talking and they're talking and they're talking some more. How do you make talking interesting?
Exactly.
Have Beatrice and Battler waltz around the freaking room and just be like, haha, no, this is happening. And Battler's like, no, it's not.
As
Yeah.
he dances, he's crying as he dances.
I want to turn the first Twilight of episode 2 into a rap battle. Like, come on.
Epic.
They should just go insane with the anime, honestly. If they did something creative like that.
I think there's something like in Bayonetta. I don't want to mess it up, but basically like the fighting style and the cutscenes and maybe the gameplay of Bayonetta is inspired by some sort of special kind of dancing, and like you could derive the choreography from fight scenes and dance scenes and make a more visually interesting scene than the anime as is, which is they stand there and sometimes the truths appear.
And also, it kind of adds to the theme of theatrics in Umineko.
I actually had a note specifically about that on how I would save the metaverse for very specific scenes, and I wouldn't use it very much. And instead, I would freeze time on the mystery themselves and put the meta characters into the mansion to walk
Yes.
around and discuss the mystery as it's happening.
And, like, they can interact with the objects and stuff.
Yeah, that could be really interesting. Like they'd be walking around like the frozen people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that would be crazy with, like, EP2 when Beatrice is like, Cannon disappeared from this room. His key's in Jessica's pocket. And he's just like, no, he didn't use the key. And he's, like, trying to convince Rosa. But he's also just having a mental breakdown in that space with Beatrice. I like the idea that it's not just like a second battler in EP2 specifically. It's just time freezes and only battler can move.
Exactly.
You know what this made me think about?
That's so cool. I love the ideas here.
It made me think about a really. Have you ever seen the show? I think it was called Ultimate Spider-Man.
I saw it a little bit.
No.
Basically, it wasn't as good as Spectacular, but Ultimate was my childhood, and in it, Spider-Man occasionally talks to the audience, and like time freezes around him, and he looks at the audience, sort of like Deadpool, and then there's like an Angel Spider-Man and Devil Spider-Man, and I like to imagine that's sort of how it would work when like the flowers appear in the visual novel, like time freezes, and the Battler turns to the screen like, "Can you believe this?"
I don't like that idea because that communicates to the audience that Butler is like controlling Game Board Butler, which he isn't. He's a completely different character from Game Board Butler, and he isn't influencing Game Board Butler sections.
EV2 still confuses me.
Maybe Battler can also freeze in the shot.
You know what? No, I'm gonna outright disagree with you there, Des. I think it's a matter of choice because there's a scene in episode 2 where Battler is like, no, it's not my turn. I don't feel like doing anything. And that speaks to exactly how the meta world Battler is approaching this game. So I think it's a matter of...
He also knows things that only meta Battler knows, like about the keys, and how he just goes straight for Jessica's pocket for the key. Like,
I'm just saying this because I know there's a scene in EP2, I don't know if it's the one you're talking about, that just confused me a lot as a first-time reader, because I didn't know if like this was the same Butler or not, and it was just unnecessarily confusing. So I just thought the visuals could help explain the relationship between Meta Butler and Game Board Butler by not having them.
Yeah, you're totally right.
I would be okay if Game Board Battler froze as well and just Meta Battler appeared in his black jacket. That would be acceptable as well. I just wouldn't use the metaverse itself, except specific scenes which have to happen.
Right.
yeah, I want it cut away every 5 minutes to go to the smoking
I know
room.
that this is in episode 3, but I really like how they use the metaverse in the manga of episode 3, where Metaverse Battler pulls Ava Beatrice into the metaverse out of the real world, out of the game board and into the
So
metaverse.
the expansion.
Physically grabs her
Get
and
over
forces
it.
her into their world.
It's really cool. Before we just fully move on and I get left behind, about the Red Truth, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what I would do, I would steal whoever's idea it was of the lighting and just make it like a JoJo palette swap for a second, like with the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
with like the VFX from the game of the Red Truth sound effect, and you would have them say it, and then just the screen would just turn black for like a second or two and just display the completed text, and then you would go back.
Mm.
And I think that's probably the most impactful way, at least, to do the Golden Truth in EP5. But we can get there when we talk about specific scenes. Now, anyway, back to the metaverse.
Yeah, back to the metaverse. That's a good idea. I like the idea of mixing up all those styles, because I think the way this could work is it could be a little bit surreal, and it could be like nothing set in stone. Sometimes it could be
Yeah.
more like the anime as is, where they're just sort of standing there. But for a more animated scene, it can be a fight scene, or it can be like...
It could also depend on who's using the red, gold, blue truths. Like, because each person seems to utilize them differently. So there can be a different style for each use of it.
Like, Erica's kind of be like a wild, like kind of just frantic, like, method of tearing down other people's truths.
Yeah.
And, like, Beatrice's would just be a very calm, like, smoke-like, elusive, like...
And for Ronave, it like sort of like my gap idea where it turns into this circle portal, like the red and blue truth literally manifests into those shields that he uses.
I think that makes the most sense, actually.
Like the idea he just catches someone's hand, and just the red truth appears on the back of his hand.
Yeah, I think like having the red truth be personalized to whoever is using it, like having different visual cues as to how it's used, like your gap idea was really mind-blowing to me. Like, that's such a good way to communicate. Like, you know, her whatever black ball of energy, but you know.
Yeah.
That just makes me want to think of how every character would use red truth. Like, how does Lambda manifest that? How does Angie manifest that? Like,
Too much, it's too many.
I already thought of something for Liner.
One of these red truths could explode like they are coming from a popcorn. Popping.
yeah,
We all know Lambda just snaps her fingers.
yeah.
Oh no! I get what you did there.
So something I could never get used to from the clips I've seen of the anime is, because we're talking about the metaverse right now, at least, the smoking room. It looks way too, like, clean and pristine and white, and it doesn't look like that in the game.
Yeah, it's way more chaotic.
I would definitely want it to be, like, more smoky, hazy, elusive.
The fire alarm could go off at any moment because it's literally a smoking room.
It looks like they're in Castle Oblivion from Kingdom Hearts. Like, why does it look like that?
I don't know how you guys envision the meta world, but in how I envision it, based on the sprites, because like not on the sprites, on the backgrounds, because every meta world. Okay, how to explain this? There's like a meta world background that is just the purple spiral, and then every other meta world background has the remnants of that purple spiral on the edges of the image. So I just imagine that it's just like disconnected pieces of the mansion in the purple color palette, and then in between each piece of the mansion you just have this meta space. So it's just like bits of the mansion stitched together.
That sounds surreal.
That sounds like beautiful.
I have something to add to that. So basically what Des was saying, I think the idea that like it's this foggy, purplish fog everywhere because it's the smoking room, but I think it would be interesting if like the fog clears whenever like they're discussing a specific scene that just happened, they're like fog clears, and then you see the like everything frozen in time and they're commenting on it.
I specifically want in the EP4 Tea Party, for whatever they're bringing up past games, for it to just be like they're in the Golden Land fighting, and then like Beatrice will be like the 6th, 7th, and 8th, the 7th, 8th, and 9th Twilights of the first game, and then Battler's just in the room with Maria and the corpses, like, and like when he gives his his crackpot explanation on how they all shot each other, you like see that scene play out, and she's just like, what the hell, Battler? Sure.
So no, wait, what do you mean? I'm not sure I understand your idea.
Basically, like the thing of, if they're discussing a certain topic, you would see time freeze and you would see them, like, be inserted into the scene. But specifically in EP4 with all of Battler's, like, crack theories, I want the crack theories to play out. Like, I want small bombs. I want small bombs to be
I am so disappointed in small bombs in the anime as is.
Because Beato didn't actually dispute any of them, despite clearly being able to, I think it would be cool, to have them play out.
Okay.
His stupid theories, yeah.
I think that would actually be a really cool way to do Blue Truth, is if you have, like, a mental image of what they're saying happened.
Yeah.
Like, when they're saying it, and then that gets shot down and you have, like, the scene play out, and then if they're like, there are no secret passageways, they'll just, like, freaking hit their head against a wall or something. Like, that would be annoying for everything, but for like, maybe just EP4 and, like, EP5.
Okay, I have something else about the metaverse, meta room, whatever. I like, because they keep referencing, like, the game board, I like to imagine that on the table between Beatrice and Battler, it's, like, literally a D&D setup, or, like, some sort of surreal crossover between a chessboard, the like 2-scale model of the Rokkenjima mansion, and like a D&D, like, and all the little pieces that are the characters they think they're in the real world, but sometimes they look like they're just like little plastic figures.
I like that. I like the idea that, like, you'd have a transition where Battler would, like, pick up the king or something, and then you would, like, fade cut into like Game Board Battler, like.
Oh, that's so cool! Yeah.
Or if they're just like little Funko Pops of all the humans and magic pieces.
I honestly think for like an Umineko anime to really work, you really gotta be creative with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is really just talking, and then the murders happen. But a lot of it is just talking, you know. So you gotta be creative and do crazy little scenes, like you just said. Like, play with the chess themes, play with whatever, you know, you can't just make it talk to. I think that's also a problem with the Dean adaptation. This is just turning into a Dean shit talk, but no.
Dean killed my family.
Dean did kill my dog as well. I am so glad we can empathize on this issue, but yeah.
I've sworn revenge against Dean.
Or what if they had, like, when they are discussing a scene, I don't have a specific scene for this. I wish I had, but like, and they're going into the more emotional side of the scene and how the person was feeling. if they were like the visuals for the scene at a point became those worlds that they fight in Madoka Magica, where like the worlds reflect the minds of the people, and do you understand what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they just become like mind palaces of their mental state.
yeah. As they discuss the things in the meta world just became these mind palaces.
That would be cool.
Oh, that's cool. I feel like the meta world scenes should just be whatever. What I mean is like whatever like the specific scene needs to communicate. Like I think the best way to treat the meta world is just things happen. Sometimes they're visually interesting. Sometimes they're battler and battle just arguing. But sometimes like cool stuff happens. Like I don't know, the smoke clears and then you see the room and everyone's frozen in time and battler's like, I think they blew up because of small bombs and then they explode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could have some cool things with like Beatrice talking about like the darkness that witches operate in, and then like you shine a light on it sometimes when Battler tries to throw out a blue truth.
Mm-hmm.
Another random thought I had was like, this is vaguely related, but it is visual stuff. I think this will never happen, but I think it would be really funny if they animated Battle the same way they animate the genie in Aladdin. Just like she just does whatever. She's suddenly tiny and talking on Battle's shoulder about how stupid he is. And you're like, yeah, go
Well, that's
off,
just
Queen.
Lambda.
No, I thought of that when we were talking about Ultimate Spider-Man. I just want, like, Game Board Battler to, like, hear Beatrice and, like, turn to his left shoulder and just see little Beatrice on his shoulder mocking
Yes,
him.
exactly!
He should hear that in the "You are incompetent" scene.
Vergilia, what do I do? And, like, turn to his right shoulder and you have, like, little Rhodope and Vergilia, and it's just...
I guess a good way to go about this is like during the I don't know if it's still the case, but during the first couple seasons of My Hero Academia, do you know those classic, like iconic, amazing animation Sakuga scenes? Apparently, the anime has those amazing scenes because the animators would compete with each other to see who would come up with the best scene, and they would like, no, I want this scene. You can animate the other one. I want this. So
oh my
like,
god, I had no idea.
if the people working on the Umineko anime had like that same friendly competition of who can come up with the craziest way to interpret this scene where they're just speaking, and that would birth all sorts of scenes like we're coming up
I
with
would
here.
love that.
Guys, I think we should just make the Umineko anime because that's the only like environment in which that
Yeah.
can happen.
We should just make an animation studio. I can't draw, but like,
I could I can playwright.
Listen, I would animate. I have actually considered animating an Umineko web series, so hush, I'm not insane.
I mean, Ryakishi did say on Twitter that he was interested in making an Umineko anime if he knew how much it would cost.
Who did? Who said that?
Yeah, he did. It was an interview.
Like another one? Does he mean
Yeah,
another
like another one. Even he thinks the anime's bad.
He does not acknowledge that there was a first one.
Yeah, I remember seeing the interview. It was something along the lines of, I really want to make an Umineko anime, but I keep asking everyone how much it would cost, and I do not have that much money.
We just need to tweet this episode at Ryukishi. He'll understand us.
We're just gonna tweet at, like, the official account, like, 07, like, we're just gonna tweet this.
Yeah.
Everyone unites. And then, like, they're gonna have to hire a translator to bring our amazing ideas to Ryukishi's ears. Yeah.
I do think we genuinely have a lot of really good ideas here, though.
Oh yeah.
This is why we should just make the anime. I'm just saying. I'm saying the only reason I haven't done it is because I don't work well with like with my own brain. Like, you know, I don't work well alone. I like working when I have someone to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
So maybe possible, like not animated, but like, you know,
Yeah.
animatic style,
Yeah.
whatever.
Uh-huh.
We're not insane. We're very
We're
sane
not
and normal.
insane. We're all of
We're
sound
not
mind.
delusional.
We're a little delusional.
If I had a direct line from my brain to a printer, I'd have like an animatic of the entire like episode 5 final fight. But I can't just translate that from my hand to a paper.
Not yet. We'll have that technology in 20 years or something.
Yeah, that's our 4D printer.
True.
You just need to wait patiently. It will happen.
Do you think that
We're
we'll
gonna
get
make the
that,
Umineko anime when AI
or we're gonna get Phase 2 first?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I got what you were gonna say, Kat. You're gonna say like, I actually forgot what you were gonna say, but I think I was gonna say the same thing.
I was also gonna say the same thing.
What was it? I completely forgot, but I know.
I also forgot. What was it?
You know what?
What was Cat gonna say?
Luckily, I was gonna say the same thing. If only I knew.
I also forgot what you were gonna say, and I also was gonna say the same thing.
I agree with it as well. Yeah, exactly.
We're all united as one, in unison.
This is literally a cat box.
They're crazy.
Here's my blue truth on what you were going to say.
What is the Bluetooth?
Ryukishi should just pay us to make the anime.
Yes.
That was not what I was gonna say.
That's not what I was gonna say either, but I agree with your statement. I think Ryukishi should just pay me, actually, and then I pay all of you to come up with the ideas.
Alright.
Okay, Bluetooth, I think what I was gonna say and what Kat was gonna say and what everybody else was gonna say on this call was once we can hook up our brains to this printer 20 years from now, we will make the anime.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
I would just have an AI read the entire visual novel and then generate an
my
anime.
God.
That sounds horrific. It's gonna just be Beatrice with 2 elbows.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
That would be terrifying, and I want to see it.
I kind of want it now.
I kinda do want an AI that can just make an animated, like...
Not gonna lie, that would be disturbing, and I think it would fit the theme.
Okay, well, is that all the thoughts we have on the meta world? Should we move on to some other topic?
Yeah, probably. We've been stuck on this for like 30 minutes.
I obviously want the visual novel OST to be a part of the anime, right? Can we agree on that? Obviously, we
Right.
want
Yeah,
that to
absolutely.
happen. However, the VN songs are already made, so you'd need to build the scenes around the OST, which shouldn't be the case. The OST should be built around the scenes if we're gonna try to make the anime a cohesive thing that will not have 400 episodes, and also because it allows for more interesting shots. So I was thinking we need to get someone to take like the original OST and adapt it to the anime.
Like, do remixes of it to fit whatever
To
kind
fit
of
it.
animation.
Yeah,
like cut and splice it to...
Yeah. So I was thinking, I really like the way the sound. I don't know if this is the actual expression for it, but like everything regarding the sound and the music works in Violet Evergarden. So I went to check who was in charge of the OST. Not the openings and the endings, like the OST itself. And it's this guy called Evan Cole. So I would get this guy to remake the OST and be in charge of it.
Sound design. That's
Yeah.
the word.
I do think it's possible, yeah, exactly, like to remix the OST so it fits more into the scenes, but like, I think the OST does give us a lot to work with, if, like, the animators a lot to work with, because music can really inspire animation.
Right.
Yeah, but then they could get inspired by the OST, then make the scene, and then this guy would adapt the music to actually fit the scene. Oh, okay.
I think we should just have, like, new tracks with, like, the leitmotifs used in the songs. Like, for more action-packed scenes, because an action scene should fit its music. Like...
Yeah. And also for fight scenes, I definitely agree, but for emotional scenes, I would want... For some emotional scenes, not all. I would want some new songs from specific people. I'll get into that when we get to the openings. Should we get into the openings?
Yeah, probably. Because I had something to say about the OST, but it's mostly related to the opening, so let's just go into that section.
Okay, you want to start then? What do you have to tell us about the openings?
I don't think they should make a new opening, because I think they should just use one of the game's openings.
For the whole
Because, like,
anime?
there's so many.
For the 100 episode
Well,
With the original Ryukishi sprites
Well,
too.
I'm debating. Maybe more like the ending of the first episode. You know what I mean? Like when like how in Higurashi Go, for example, like they ended the first episode with the OG anime opening. Maybe they should do that, but like with the opening from the game, like something that really makes the fans be like, "Oh, I know that. I'm nostalgic about that. Good feels, good feels."
It should be the music opening from the game, but then like have actual like original animation over it.
Yes.
The first episode of the first episode... God, I hate that sentence. Starts with Umineko no Nakakoro ni, like the song.
Yeah.
And then it ends with the original anime opening, is my vision for it.
Oh, that's a good.
And then after that point, we get new openings.
Okay, for EP1 specifically, I was thinking of having a remake of the original opening, remade by Calafina. I don't know if you guys know who Calafina are, but they're the ones who make most of the Fate openings, and I think he would be perfect for it because they just, I guess it's kind of like gospel with opera, like a weird mix. I think it would fit very well.
Very much agree.
I'll agree. I second this. I didn't have like a composer or artist like picked out for this.
I agree, but because he's always attached to incredible anime, I would have TK from Link Toshite Sigure do my opening.
Yes, thank you. That I had him reserved for another episode, but I agree. I don't know what episode you would get him for, but I agree.
I'm now thinking, because I had the randomest thought. We were talking about music so much, and I was like, you know the Image songs? The Image songs slap.
Yeah.
I hate the Image songs.
So you'd incorporate those?
No, I don't think it would work, but I think it would be really funny if just like out of nowhere we just had Image song moments where like just like instead of George being like having his like scenes with Shannon, you just have his little banger Image song where he's like shooby doo bat.
Oh.
We have like the Mirage coordinator scene at the end of EP3, but we just replace it with Lambda's Image song.
Yeah, I think it would be really funny
for the ending.
I don't think it would work.
The point of Image songs is that they're separate from the show, though.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that could be music videos, like extra stuff. Yeah, because we're totally gonna get
But
that.
you could get the funny reference, like if you just have Renove going around the garden and he's just like, oh yes, this is the garden of the red roses.
Oh my god, if characters hum their own Image songs, that would be the funniest thing ever.
Oh, that could be very cool too.
Yo, wait, what are we gonna do with Studio Petan?
I was thinking
Is it gonna be like Union Jack Jessica again?
I don't know. Whoever's doing the anime can just decide that for themselves.
But we're doing the anime, remember?
I don't think they can. I think that's the copyright means.
Are they gonna force Jessica to be British again?
Maybe they can just redesign whatever outfit they want to put her in.
Yeah, make like, I don't know, what is another make French Jessica. That would be even funnier, in my opinion.
French Jessica and British Jessica showdown.
That's actually very possible because Ryukishi really likes his French fans, so that is a very big possibility.
I did not know that. Huh.
Yeah, he got inspired to write Rose Against Days after going to France, and so the French fandom just really is really prideful of him.
I wish Ryukishi would come to my country. That would be beautiful. That would be like, hello.
What's your country?
Croatia. So nobody knows where it is. That's why it's funny. But fun fact, this is so unrelated to everything. Miyazaki wanted to set one of his movies in my country, but then the war was happening, so he couldn't visit, and he was like, never mind, Italy it is.
Oh, what the fuck, really?
Yeah!
What the fuck?
Yeah!
Yeah, I feel you. That sucks. Well, but since he already was interested in Croatia, maybe he'll make another movie. And it will be based on Croatia.
He's been saying he's gonna make another movie since, like, what, 2017? 18? I don't remember.
It will happen.
Just like Ciconia Phase 2!
Yeah!
Definitely.
I like how, like, Ciconia Phase 3 is just like, that we don't even bother talking about how long it'll take for that.
We're just going to get Phase 3. He's going to forget he hasn't already released Phase 2. We're
really
just
funny.
getting Phase 1 and then the answer arcs.
And then we're gonna be like, wait, there's something missing. And then that's the twist all along. The Phase 2 was never gonna come out, that's the twist. He just skips to Phase 3.
He would find out a way to make that, like, a canon in the story.
Phase 3 will just be like episode 8 of the Umineko anime.
What if we're not getting Phase 2 because Phase 2 will be renamed to Phase the Squeakquel? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
How did we get into this rant?
I don't know! Continue,
okay,
anime moment.
Anime.
Ren, I wanna ask
Yeah.
you, what Umineko episode would you have TK sing for?
That's difficult. Well, because his voice sells anime, I'd probably have him as early as possible, if not episode 1.
Okay.
What things has TK done? I'm not
Tokyo
familiar.
Ghoul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tokyo Ghoul's probably his most popular. He also did 91 Days and Psychopaths, and he's in a band. But TK is very melodramatic, so I'm trying to remember which episode would fit that the most.
I think my idea was to have him for EP4, because then we can make a Tokyo Ghoul episode 12 moment at the end where he just played the opening during Beato's death.
True. Yeah. Okay. That works.
Oh my god.
I think that would be great.
And people will make fan edits with like the Tokyo Ghoul first opening, but with Angie being emo. I think that would be beautiful.
God, that sounds like a fever dream to have other anime fandoms making Umineko things instead of the other way around.
Christ.
I have like reserve people for like the other episodes. I don't have a specific episode that I want them to be on, just random names in case we cannot get these specific people or something. I also want Umineko openings by Supercell, who are the people who did the Guilty Crown openings and endings and music. I don't know if you've watched Guilty Crown. It's a bad anime, but it's surprisingly good.
It's because of the direction, you know? It always comes down to the direction.
Okay, yeah, I agree, yeah. So you should definitely watch Guilty Crown just to be confused about your opinions regarding it. And because of the music. Supercell is amazing at setting tone. And I think for the answer arcs for EP5 and EP6, it would be good to have a not so serious opening. Because, you know...
Just like a fun one.
Yeah, because funny Meta World shenanigans.
Like something from like Aimer or Lisa.
Actually, I was thinking of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Do you know them?
I don't. I have this thing where I just like sigh in recognition for something I have no idea what you're talking about.
From Parasite the Maxim's opening.
Oh, I love that opening.
Oh,
Okay.
is that what they did?
Because it just sounds so fucking weird. I think it would be perfect. So like it's just really different. And then there's a point in the song, in the full song, where he just starts imitating a chicken for some reason.
It's beautiful. I love it.
It is like they're full, like the shortened version you hear in anime like Parasite and Hunter x Hunter. It's already good, but then you listen to the full songs and you're like, what the fuck is going on in this song?
The weirder the better.
Partway through that, I started imagining it just like a still shot of Maria just opening her mouth like it lip synced to that song. Well, first I imagined Maria, and then I imagined Shannon doing the Shannon dance.
Wait a minute. No, I know what we need in the Umineko anime. We finally need the official lyrics for Happy Maria.
Yes! Yes!
Yes.
We need to have it play with subtitles. We don't know what it's saying.
Magical God, the
Magical to go.
My
wish
wish
is
is golden
golden dream.
I
dream.
tried so hard to decipher it.
But only the misheard subtitles.
Yeah. I need Birth of the New Witch to be specific. They cannot change the ending of EP6's song.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it needs to play in time with what it is. The gunshots need to be synced with the vocals, and then we'll make someone will make just Birth of a New Witch, but there's gunshots every second.
Gunshot, cash register noise.
I don't know if this is a thing in other countries, but I used to go to gas stations and I would hear like a sonic ring sound, and it would just be some guy at the cash register pressing a button. Like,
Yeah, it was like on the credit card machines.
Yeah.
I used to be so confused.
like this is like 8-year-old me just like hearing a sonic sound effect in a gas station. I'm like, what? What?
I can imagine. Yeah. And then for EP8, I would want the True to make the opening. Who they made the opening and ending for Violet Evergarden. The Violet Evergarden's opening and ending just has the same effect as Anohana's opening, so I think that would be perfect for EP8. We want to give.
What did you just do with my brain?
Why?
Because I was just thinking, oh man, I really want the Umineko anime to have like a secret base 10 years after, like.
Oh.
And then you just said Anohana, and I'm like, what?
There's a lot of good things we could take from Anohana.
There are.
I always think about this, but like, I know Umineko isn't technically like, oh, it's not supposed to be like gothic aesthetic or whatever. It's kind of is, but like, you know, it's not like enter the story. It's more like the visual style of the clothes. And my first thought was like, what if like that one anime, Rosen Maiden or something, I forgot what it's called, that has a banger opening. I don't know if that makes any sense from the Umineko anime, but I want that singer to sing it. It's the same singer who sang the Another opening, the Another anime, however.
Okay, I see it. That could work.
It's just like, I think it would fit visually into it, because like the visuals of the character designs fit the way the music sounds, but I don't know if it would fit thematically, if you know what I mean.
I think it would. That's also the same reason why I wanted Calafina to remake the anime opening. They also have that like vibe about their songs.
What do you guys think about the idea of like a different director for each episode, not like each EP?
Like the manga just has a different
Like the manga, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know the manga did that, but
Yeah,
it's really weird to read.
I think it could be interesting, but I think it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, I know from experience that if when directors are given too much creative freedom, it can be a jumbled mess. Like, I watched this one show, I was really a huge fan of it, Dororo, and like, one of the episodes, like, they got a different director, and it does not fit the rest of the show at all. It was the worst thing I've ever watched. Not stylistically, not like thematically, in every way it just felt out of place. And I'm like, I mean, if every episode is directed by a different person, maybe it could work. But I feel like a strong story is carried by its, like, a strong adaptation is carried by the director.
All right,
Yeah.
but I think if every episode, not like every anime episode, but every arc
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
is
Well, that's the way the manga is as well.
I think that would work, because then it would give us time to get used to this new style each time.
I don't know. Going from Dean to Go is very difficult.
That's true.
I would just get the Utena director to direct the Umineko anime, that's all I'm gonna
Yes.
say.
I would not, because he goes a little too crazy if he doesn't have a leash.
really?
True. Who's gonna be the leash? leash.
Well, in Utena, it was his co-director.
It's true.
Wait, give me an example. I've never watched Utena. Like, why?
No, Utena itself was fine, but other works by the same director, just like, he had too many ideas that didn't quite fit into anything else, and plot threads that went nowhere, and when he didn't have anyone keeping him really closely on track, these things never got fixed. Stuff like,
Damn.
like Yurikuma Arashi or Mawaru Penguin Drum, which were both still good shows, especially Penguin Drum, but they definitely did have, like, you could tell that he was given almost too much creative freedom.
I see.
He got a lot of great. I don't know. I say bring him in. I think that's the energy that Umineko needs. But like things like I know that Penguin Drum, I think it was having trouble getting pitched because it's like based on a real world disaster, and its themes are trains and penguins.
Yeah.
He was really passionate about that idea. So I don't know. I think like that kind of, because I didn't think about Utena, even though I really love it. Like that sort of surreal like effect that the fight scenes in Utena, like things are just flying around.
I'm trying to think of a Penguin Drum like Umineko anime, and you know what? Yeah, that could work.
to be fair, I've never heard of Utena until I was looking up a like Umineko animatic of a song, and there was also like an Utena one right under it. Like
Utena is free on YouTube, by the way.
that's
Everyone go watch it, but after you're done watching this episode.
It's only in certain countries. I actually had a friend that I like linked it. She was like, I cannot watch this.
Oh, dang it.
back to pacing, just for a second.
Yeah.
The reason I think 13 episodes per arc could work really well is because I think that's what Kai was working with for Matsuri Bayashi. I could be wrong. But they paced out the arcs a lot better, and Kai is noticeably better than the first season.
That's true.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
I think Minagoroshi is a little shorter. I am pulling this from the deep recesses of my brain. Because they have, like, Nekogoroshi, they have, like, Psychoyoshi or something. Not Psychoroshi, that's a different one. Back to the stage play. EP7 is an opera.
Yes! Yes!
You have the anime, and then you go to a real-life opera house to watch EP7. And you're there for 12 hours, and they will not let you leave. Until you correctly answer what is the heart of Umineko.
Speaking of episode 7, like how that would be animated, this is kind of jumping around a little bit, but I don't think it'll take long. But what we're talking about, how things are kind of like the idea for surreal, like mixing reality with the game board for like arguments in previous episodes. For episode 7, when they're in the stage, other than like characters kind of flying in and out, I kind of want it to just be like Claire, like living it up as a great actor.
I feel like that would get visually boring after the fourth episode of that.
That's
I'm just looking at Claire on the stage.
Well, Endless Eight did happen, and yet
Endless Eight did
Haruhi
happen.
Suzumiya is one of the most popular shows ever.
I don't think Endless Eight is one of the most popular shows ever, though.
No, it is not. All right, but what if they like actually showed the backstory, but then sometimes they would cut to Claire like dramatically acting it out,
Yeah.
Just the, oh, I am one yet many.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The scenes where it's actually shown.
and that would be what Will is seeing, and Will is just like,
Yeah.
okay, girl, go
Will
off.
is just like very deeply into it because he just understands the heart of the mystery.
Yes, he's like, go off.
She's the drama kid.
And then you had the curtains drawn and the screens and like the spotlights fade, and then it just like opens up and you just like it just like flashes on, and you have Angie and Leon there for the tea party. I have no idea how they would realistically do EP7. There's so much, and there's like the entirety of EP7 until the very end of the tea party is just like going around and talking.
But that's fine, because EP7 happens at a point where you're already invested in the story. You don't have to prove to your audience that it's worth it, so it's fine.
I'm also wrong in that because Will has the freaking theater goers authority thing.
Oh, the theater goers authority and the scene with Shannon, that'd be so hype.
The scene with Shannon should specifically have like the creepy Higurashi like Dean cat eyes. Like, are we talking about the same scene with Shannon of like the chess analogy?
The one where everything gets distorted and like her eyes go
Oh,
weird.
okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it could be a like potential to have it like the screen is like literally glitching out and like there's on purpose animation errors that are happening on screen.
Yeah, and if we're going with White Fox, at that point you just start hearing.
I want Call of the Witch in my. I want to have them open the door to the shed in EP1 and just see everyone. And it's like,
Or the Danganronpa scream.
a body has been discovered.
Question: Would the Umineko anime have the ahaha love?
It has to.
Yeah, it needs to have ahaha.love.
At least in a joke scene, it has to, with Lumped or something.
Remix it into the OST.
That's in the opening. That's the last thing we hear.
Because like the voice acting has the WAV file over the actual laughs, so I don't see why the anime would be any different.
People would be so confused who have never heard of Umineko. They would be like, "What is this?"
It's literally people who read the manga. How can you read this? It doesn't even have ahaha.wav.
If you just see Beatrice like pressing on it like a voice recorder and it's just that way.
She just has like a little button that she presses, and that plays.
It's in her pipe.
It's like the easy button.
Umineko should be a comedy, honestly.
Taking it back to how you would handle episode 7, if we're working in 40 to 44 episodes like I expect, I would cut the entire arc and give the answers back to Battler in the original arcs where the actual incidents occurred, and just skip episode 7 altogether.
No.
I like Will too much as a character to cut that. Like, I like his
I
scenes.
like Leon too much as a character.
I like him too, but if I'm trying to cut things, that's one of the things I'd
Yeah,
be
I was
looking
afraid you were gonna say
I
that.
think you could cut the most of the episode. I think you would just have like you can cut like Maria thinking that she's Jesus. You can cut like
Why
freaking
cut
the
that?
table order thing. But like you need Leon to like have Beatrice's 1 in 360 million chance. You need you need to have Sayo's backstory. Like you're not gonna.
But Saya's backstory is one of the things I think we could cut the most. Because, like,
cut it down
those
a lot,
fucking
like-
12 chapters or whatever it is.
You can trim it down a lot, but you can't cut it out completely.
Like we could cut like her playing around with Gap in the chapel. We could cut like we probably couldn't cut like the prank that she does that incites her being a witch.
No, I think all of that, since we're doing an anime, we can basically tell most of that visually. And that would cut so much time.
Oh wait, but hold on, because we're talking about our ideal anime here. So is that what you would want, or just what would have to happen for it to be realistic? Like, if anything goes, would you have episode 7 in its entirety?
I would cut it down a lot, but
Ideally, yes, but ideally I would have 400 episodes. So if I'm looking to cut things, that's what I'm looking at. Although this goes to another point I have that I was kind of saving towards the end because it's a little more overall. But the manga accepts the Sayo result and the non-magical ending as absolute fact. And I think an anime adaptation would have to either do the same or have one of the most controversial endings of all time.
I think it's fine for it to have the most controversial
Wait,
ending.
what do you mean? What does the manga do?
Confessions. Like,
Oh, we're talking about Confession.
Are we?
Okay.
are we talking about I don't think the anime should give away the answers to the Twilights, but
I agree, but the manga does so, and I think it is because it would be very unsatisfying to someone who spent 400 episodes watching an anime
Yeah,
to
true.
reach the end and it'd be like, there's no answer.
I agree with you.
that's fair, but the people who feel like that may have, like, kind of... I'm not saying if you watched a video on the answers of Umineko, you missed the point. That's not what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
Well,
I did that.
Can I play
But
devil's advocate? Because I agree with Ren, but I want to play devil's advocate because I played through Umineko and I was too stupid. I didn't get it. I was like, oh, I guess there was an 18th person after all. That's kind of weird. Who's best friends with Shannon. And I still got enjoyment out of all 8 episodes.
I mean, I'm the dumbest one here probably because when I really wanted to know who was the trans character, and so
Oh my god.
I basically learned everything from the get-go. I'm like, now I will definitely not solve anything.
it's just like,
Damn.
oh, who's that character? Oh, it's Yasu. Okay. Who's Yasu?
Who is Yasu? And then you fall down a rabbit hole of spoilers.
Yeah. I managed to gaslight myself into I like looked at the wiki to like look up the Decalogue again in like EP5. And I found I found the wiki page for Yasu, and I looked at other names for half a second and just like erased it from my memory.
For you. I wish I could do that.
Oh my god. Well,
I don't think I actually did it. I just like refused to use it for reasoning.
Yeah.
Like
my friend tried to gaslight me into thinking Yasu and Sayo were 2 different people. They were like, I was like, oh, so Sayo, isn't she the trans one? And then my friend was like, no, that's Yasu.
No.
And I'm like, no, aren't they the same person? They were like, fuck.
I can feel the struggle in your friend.
I'm the worst. I'm literally the worst player of Umineko. I suck at this.
I didn't even think that it was solvable until Beatrice disproved witches in red in episode 3.
I'll tell you what threw me off. I got to the end of episode 6. I was like, oh, Ken and Shannon are... Spoilers, by the way. We already said that. Ken and Shannon are the same person? Okay, I wonder who the culprit is. I started episode 7, then I got there's no servant that can be the culprit. Van Dyne, you screwed me yet again.
That is the biggest middle finger to people who have only half solved the mystery. Yeah. I want to make an episode on like the stairway to the truth, of like both how people interacted with Umineko the first time, and both like how you can parse the clues that are there to either solve it early or how like it is delivered in EP7, because they keep saying that they made it so that you would only understand if you already reached the truth. And I disagree.
I feel like it's getting to get back to the anime, but still also relate to what you're saying. Like, how would we make the anime so it has the genuine clues, but like you don't feel cheated by what you're seeing? Because there's the rule with the golden butterflies. This also relates to like if we're cutting confession or if we're like including a true answer.
An hour ago, someone said they needed to talk about the butterflies.
We can't show Shannon with her face blown off in the anime. That'd be a direct cheat.
Are you talking about the first Twilight of EP1?
Yeah, I was talking about the first Twilight of the first game.
Well,
Just show it from Battler's point of view
Yeah.
and have her top half of her body hidden by whatever it's behind.
just do it like in the VN. You just see the CG and Hideyoshi in the front.
Yeah, I think that you could have like a shot of like Hideyoshi like looking behind like one of the shelves and just being like gasp, and it cuts to his face. And then
Or you could actually, this isn't even a problem. You can actually just show Shannon dead, because later on you'll have scenes like the start of EP5 where Erika will be in the same room as Shannon and Kanon, and that isn't a problem because you're seeing it through the perspective of Butler.
I have to talk about that on the next book club.
Yeah.
Do you also have a problem with it?
I have severe problems, and Lambda's a cheater.
Okay. We can discuss. Actually, maybe this could be its whole episode because I feel like
I think that's true.
EP5 really stretches how much the viewer has to trust the writer.
And even though it's the one that says you have to trust the writer.
Wait, it does? Where at the start?
EP5 is the
notes?
one where they're talking about the Decalogue, and where they're like, you have to Beatrice made this game for you to solve it.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the relationship. All I'll say, Beatrice made this game so you can solve it, but no one said Lambda did.
Did Beatrice animate this game so you could solve it?
True.
But yeah, I don't think those scenes would be a problem. Because you have a lot of fantasy scenes, and it's like Butler sees the battle between Beato and Vergilia with the towers and shit, and that's still fantasy.
Right. I guess besides fantasy scenes, like how would the exception, episode 5 is its own beast in that regard, but like going back to episode 1, because that's the easiest example. So for the first Twilight, you just show the bodies that aren't Shannon and like probably relate through George's perspective how he wants to see Shannon, but Hideyoshi's no, don't, so we never actually see her face.
I think we could still see it. We could still see Shannon dead as long as we know that Battler did not see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like if they were like, if they just throw in a scene that's like, oh hey George, did you see? No wait, there is like a line at the end that's like, oh I guess I just can't see her, but she's in the back. Like, but it feels like in an anime format where you're looking at that, it would feel a little obvious. But maybe that's because we are working backwards from the answer. Like,
maybe it's more controversial than I thought. I was gonna say in the second Twilight with the chain that isn't actually locked, but we have to, in order to stay truthful to the anime, have canon see a locked chain.
well, I mean that's a fantasy scene. There's no detective.
But that's fine because that's not what's actually happening. That's their retelling of what happened.
All right.
That's exactly how it goes on the VN. Like this isn't
Yeah.
a problem. The VN pulls these tricks too.
You can show complete lies as truth as long as Battler is not witnessing them.
Yeah.
I can't believe the EP1 or like EP1 or EP4 or somewhere hits you with the sentence, a lie that everyone believes becomes the truth. And then I just looked at that and was like, okay, that's an interesting thematic thing. And then the entire story is just
That's
that.
Fuyuhiko
Yes.
Danganronpa.
That's, oh, really?
You just said it, Fuyuhiko. If a lie is a believable lie, it might become the truth.
Really?
Yeah. Danganronpa 2.
I don't believe you.
No, word for word.
No,
It
I
definitely
think
sounds familiar.
it does sound like it could also be a Danganronpa line. But it is also the plot of Umineko.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Which with Golden Truth.
So, all right. So, I think it seems pretty like clear with you guys that you have more trust that it's fine to show things as they appear in the VN, where like things are outright untrue, as long as it's clear we're not seeing
Yeah.
them from Battler's perspective.
Yeah.
Eventually, we have to be given the rules.
Well, you aren't given the rules in Umineko. The characters just discuss it through the episodes, and you start understanding what's a rule and what isn't a rule.
You don't even know what a detective is until the detective proclamation.
Are you talking about
Like,
Rule XYZ?
No, I'm not talking about rule XYZ. I'm talking about stuff
oh,
like detective's authority. You don't learn about it because people tell you the detective has this rule to where they don't actually need, like, if they investigate a room, that just means there are no hidden devices. The text doesn't tell you that outright. You learn about that because the characters discuss that between themselves.
Yeah, but as long as they keep that, that's fine.
I like how Battler has the line of how he's like, well, why does Erica get the detective proclamation? I didn't have that. Then you look at the question arc Red Truth, and they're just the Decalogue
Yeah.
for half of them. Like,
Yeah, and it's so okay. I won't get into this. This is a topic for the book club.
So,
yeah.
you know how in Death Note, in their like commercial breaks, they put the rules of the Death Note on
Oh,
the
yeah.
screen for a moment? You
Yeah,
could totally do
yeah.
that with the mystery rules.
I don't think so.
I think you do that with the tips.
I don't think that could work Because the answer, if you start learning about the rules in the answer arcs, then you're just gonna think Bator is fucking dumb. Because every blue truth Bator throws at Beto is just the mystery rules. It's just that Bator still doesn't know about them.
Yeah, true. You would have to do it later.
Yeah, you as a reader only start learning about the rules when you start believing Beto wouldn't make an unfair mystery, and then you start learning about the mystery genre rules. That's in the answer arcs only.
I think that you should have cut to commercial break, one character's tip page,
Yeah.
end commercial break, one character's tip page, like Full Metal Alchemist
Yeah.
does.
That could also work with helping to shorten the introductions in like the very first episode.
I think the way the original anime and the stage play do the introductions is fine. Like, just have like the snapshot of like, this is this person's basic bio.
Well, I do have some thoughts on it. I do think the stage play executes it a lot better, but to me, like, the original anime doesn't do it well,
Fair.
because instead of, like, focusing on, like, what is this character's personality, and then spelling the names and stuff, it really goes like, oh, this is my dad Rudolph, and this is his wife Kyrie.
Yeah.
I don't consider her my real mom. Like, you know, that's in the visual novel, and that's fine because it's, like, internal monologue, and you expect that from, like, the medium. But when it comes to an anime, I do think that kind of dialogue of like stopping the story and then being like, this is my stepmom, like it feels very cheesy and not in a good way. I think my solution to that would be basically something along the lines of like Eva and Hideyoshi could like tease Battler, and then the scene pauses. We get like where we get in the stage play, we get like, this is Ushiromiya Eva and the oldest daughter of Ushiromiya Kinzo, and this is Ushiromiya Hideyoshi, her husband. That's it. And, like, all of the family is saying that instead of just Battler being like, yeah, this is my aunt. And then you can get, like, Battler's internal monologue, but it's mostly commenting on his relationship with these people instead of being like, this is the relation between she's my aunt. Instead of being like that, it can be like, oh, these two are a pair of jokers, they always tease me. Basically like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
So don't tell, like, especially with Battler and Kyrie's relationship. Outside of, like, their familial relationship, like, the way they act around each other is very telling.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, having them spell it out kind of defeats the purpose of, like, especially the anime medium. Like, what? Like, everyone makes fun of the scenes in anime where it's like, my name is insert anime name, and I am a 16-year-old boy. And, you know, like, it's a little tired.
I would want, like, the Yakuza series, where whenever anyone gets introduced, it just freezes and puts their title and name right on top of them.
And their tip screen.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, but I think there should be a little more to it.
We can agree that that AP1 should start at the airport and not on the island, right? That's not a controversial take.
Yeah, because it's at the airport where you get the
Because the anime starts at the island.
Yeah, but the BN starts with Kinzo.
It's too many characters at once.
Kinzo and Genji and Nanja. And that's,
right.
I guess, a little bit important.
I do think there's a compromise that can be made because, like, the airport is a very boring setting for, like, a scene, in my opinion. Like, just in general, the environment of an airport is not that interesting. You can't really do fun stuff with it. I do think they should do what the stage play did, where they basically introduce the things that happen in the airport. Like, they play out dialogue from the airport in the visual novel, but it's set on either the boat or the island.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just like do the introductions like first part's at the airport and then you're on the plane and there's like this conversation about like Angie and like how she's sick. And so you learn that. You have like some banter between like Battler and Maria, and then you get like to the boat and you have like, oh, here's like Ava and Hideyoshi's relationship. Oh, here's Battler being a doofus. Like, and then you get to the island.
Yeah, something
like,
along
I like the idea of like Kyrie and Rudolph talking about like Angie to like Ava, and in the background it's just Battler screaming.
They're on the boat.
I want the entire boat scene to have Battler screaming like he's going Super Saiyan 3. I'm sorry, but you're passing out in the recording booth. Like,
But yeah, I think I went through all of my ideas that I had. So, like, if you guys have a new conversation topic or something, yeah.
I'm done.
what about specific scenes that we want to see animated in a certain way?
I guess that's close enough to what I was gonna say. It's like, because we're talking about like how the ending would work. What about trick ending versus magic ending? Like, how would that work?
I think they would just do the magic ending.
That's kind of getting back to what I was saying. You have to pick one, and I think you just, in my opinion, you would go with the the not magic ending because it has an actual conclusion.
Yeah, same.
I have another idea. What if we just put them together in the sense that first you see the truth ending, and then it's all you find at the end. You find out this was all Angie playing it out in her head, and then ultimately deciding not to go to the island, and then magic ending.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, same.
Wait, we put the trick ending when Angie falls down the skyscraper. The trick ending, like, she just falls down, and then it's just her on the boat with Amakusa. Like,
Wait, I don't get it. What's your idea?
like in EP8 where she like reads the book of the singular truth and like goes crazy, and like falls down the skyscraper because of her contract with Byrne, and then usually you then have like a Toya's scene after that, but you could put the trick ending there, and then be like, that was a bad ending.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And then you could have the magic ending at the end of the story. Because the point of EP8 is that it's not a conclusion. It is the start of the rest of Angie's life.
Still,
Like,
I like the diegeticness of making the trick ending, Angie playing the rest of her life out in her head and then deciding this isn't the way to go about it.
I
Yeah.
think that's probably the greatest compromise of the two ideas.
Speaking of compromises, I was thinking about the allusions to illusions scene in EP7, and I was like, well, wait a minute. If we're having Battler's Blue Truths in EP4, like being played out in those scenes, then the most logical evolution of that would be for the confession things to go, like when Will is like illusions to illusions. A chain of illusions can trap only illusion. Like you see, like Canon just walk in the room and shoot them. Like, I wouldn't like it, but it's the most obvious evolution of the way that I thought they might do Blue Truth.
I mean, that's sort of what they did in the manga.
Yeah, the way Will would be animated would be cool, like, because he's got
Yeah.
the black sword that uses the black and white truth, which is just normal text. I feel like that could work, where it flashes by. Because they do that in, like, the end, like, the PS3 one that has the little CG that appear. It'd be equivalent of that. Any other specific scenes anyone, like, thinks about, they have a good idea about how they would want it to be animated?
My brain is so empty. Like, after, like, it's been 2 hours.
This is my second 2-hour podcast this weekend, so
This episode's gonna take more than 6 hours to edit.
Oh no, I'm so sorry whoever is editing
Uh-uh.
this. But I was gonna say that, like, you know, my brain is empty at this point. I feel like I went through all the big brain ideas and now I'm just like, yes.
same.
You're in agreement mode.
No, I think we have a good like compilation of ideas here.
Now all we gotta do is mail this to Ryokishi and, you know, and he's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna get a translator to understand this fan ramble. Yeah.
I want the logic error scene to just be like an entire episode of just a horror anime. Like, I want the logic error scene to traumatize some child. Like,
Oh
they're gonna be scared of opening their, like, touching their doorknob after this. Like,
or putting their hand outside their window.
The part with the red truth, like, appearing on the walls.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a horror movie with, like, the blood words, like, appearing, like, scratching into the walls.
yeah.
Okay, for the logic error scene, I don't want to see Butler. I want the whole episode to be a POV.
Oh!
That sounds incredibly hard to do, but I would love it.
Because in the VN you never see Butler's sprite.
I don't want it to be POV for one reason, and it's personal. I don't want it to be POV because I get motion sickness whenever I watch something in first person, like terribly. Like I can't watch 5 minutes
Oh,
of first person gameplay without being like, nope, I gotta hurl now.
we put the logic error in VR, and you have to find your way out.
I like that.
Forget the Umineko anime, how about the Umineko ARG?
The Umineko ARG. You have to go out to an abandoned island that got blown up 60 years ago. You have to find the gold by solving a stupid riddle. Like,
Yeah, it's just a series of escape rooms that you have to logically figure out how to get out of.
and if you don't, a witch kills you and your family.
And if you get to the end and you win the escape rooms, you get Ciconia Phase 2.
Now that's something we can...
Whoa! An even better prize than the Shiromi family headship. By far.
I actually thought about, like, making an... this is one of my many attempts to get my friends into Umineko, but I did think about making a board game based on Umineko, and I think that could work. I genuinely think that could work. It would be a long-ass board game, but it could work.
I thought you were going to say you were going to make an Umineko ARG to get your friends into Umineko, and you're just going to, like, hide their family playing dead in their room.
So
Like...
one day I teamed up with Mr. Beast and we built the Shinomiya mansion on an island. And I invited my friends.
Mr. Beast direct the Umineko anime.
If anyone's doing that, invite me, please.
Since my friends won't read Umineko, I will make them experience Umineko.
This is just, oh my god, this is just like Nathan for you.
Friends won't read Umineko as your origin story.
I think that would be beautiful. I think we should get Mr. B specifically into Umineko so he can do that with someone, and so
True.
Umineko becomes the most popular thing in the universe. Yeah.
I will make a Twitter account just to spam Mr. Beast's account.
Okay, when we get Mr. Beast in on this, because we are getting Mr. Beast in on this, and when the English dub comes out, because it will come out,
Whoa.
who is Mr. Beast gonna play? Hideyoshi.
Kawabata.
Beatrice.
Kawabata, we're gonna make him the culprit?
I think it would be pretty cool if he just played Beatrice, and that was the twist. Like, we never got the reveal of who Beatrice will be, like,
What?
voice acted by, because Umineko Gold never came out. So imagine just, like, collaboration, Mr. Beast next to Umineko.
How many years has it been since Umineko Gold was announced? Has Battler been gone for 6 years yet?
Oh no, it's been 4 years.
It's the image of Rosatrice in the boat with Battler, but it's Mr. Beast with Battler, like at the end of episode 8.
I do think the idea of Mr. Beast building a private island just to make an Umineko ARG is beautiful. I want it now.
I just realized we've been pronouncing his name wrong the whole time. It's Mr. Beatrice.
Oh my god, it's so real. I'm crying.
No,
This is completely
no.
spiraled out of-
Witches can't be real. Billionaires can't be real. All the magic was just extremely advanced special effects. There really was an underground lab that shot up giant statues of ancient historical figures.
Oh my god, now I just got reminded of my Georgia Tresseu. Don't.
George, we can have that on the...
We
We
should
shouldn't
not.
talk about that. We don't want to give them too many ideas.
This podcast is long enough already. It's been 2 hours, more than 2 hours. Wow.
Alright.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah, we got way off topic a lot.
I keep forgetting any of these are getting uploaded.
So do you have any more thoughts on the anime?
It's definitely happening. Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And when it comes out, we will all be watching over it. Like Angie's family. Because we'll all be dead by then.
When it comes out, I definitely won't watch it because it's a cat box. As long as I don't watch it, I don't know whether it's good or bad.
True.
True. That's my reason I never watched the anime. Clearly.
It's a social experiment, you guys. But yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed the episode. I at least did. I think we could basically pitch these ideas and they would get approved because they are amazing ideas and we are amazing at brainstorming.
Without love,
It cannot be deemed.